What's up, everybody? My name is Tony Hope, and you're listening to the Hear Me Roar podcast, a sports show where I run my mouth about all things sports. And today, I am back with my co-host Noble Lewis, and we are bringing y'all another iteration of the Hear Me Roar podcast. And if you're not familiar with my voice, you better get used to it because I am the future of sports media. I hope y'all can see me clearly. You know, we got the new setup on deck. We got the new microphone. We got the new webcam. We got some lighting in here that doesn't make me look just absolutely horrid like I'm supposed to be in a horror movie. Hey, hear me roar. We're going up. Noble needs to catch up, get his goddamn webcam set up, he needs to catch up to the program. But
Listen,
you know, it's an investment. You know, we're only on episode 38. I plan on doing a whole another 300 of these episodes. We don't stop. So I need to see it set up. You know, see nothing. That thing is worthless until it is on camera.
that's true. That's true. But it's coming soon. It's coming. Like I said, with everything, we are baking a lot. It's slow progress, but progress for sure. Everything is slowly coming together. We got some big upgrades visually coming for you guys soon. So just be
Hey,
on the lookout.
what they say, slow motion better than no motion.
Yes,
And that's why
sir.
we here twice a week bringing y'all some of the best sports talk on the internet. And you know what I'm saying? We both young black men. First day of Black History Month, 21 years old, and we're gonna be the future of this. So y'all better go ahead and tap in and lock in while y'all can. But today, man, I am super, super, super ready to get into this episode. We got a lot of newsworthy things, and I got a lot to get off my chest, especially with basketball. I don't know why, but the NBA has just been irritating me lately, and I have some opinionated comments to get off. We're going to be talking about Tyrese Halliburton, Joel Embiid, and the whole 65 game rule that came with the new CBA that was introduced at the beginning or during the off season of last year. We got the All-Star reserves were announced, and oh boy, I got something to say about that. We have football talk too. Some coordinators bouncing around. We have the Seahawks having their new coach, the Lions keeping their OC, the Ravens losing their DC and their OC, the Texans keeping their OC. We're going to talk a little bit about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes' rank amongst some of the other greats in the world or in the quarterback position. We're going to talk about some all-time playoff runs, and then we're going to wrap it up with who that is as per usual. I don't think Nova's going to get this one. He's 1-3 right now. He's going to be 1-4 after this, I can assure you.
You're hating already.
But without further ado, we'll get started. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment or leave a rating on Apple. Leave a rating on Spotify. Share with your family. Share with your friends. Anybody that wants to hear about sports. Spread the word. Hear me roar. Going up all 2024. Let's get right into this, man. And I'm starting with basketball, starting with the NBA. We're starting with what has been pretty much the main headline of the basketball world for the past few days, and it's the 65 game rule. For those who are unaware, in the new CBA that was introduced last offseason, I talked about it in an earlier episode of Hear Me Roar. Actually, that was the main premise of the episode. You can go back and listen to it. It is from a while ago, but it was introduced that players would have to be required to play a minimum of 65 games to be qualified for any postseason award, any type of all NBA team listing, whether that's all defense, all rookie, all NBA, MVP, defensive player of the year, any of that. They have to play a minimum of 65 games in order to be eligible. And Tyrese Halliburton recently came out and said that he believes it's a stupid rule. He pretty much believes that it's what the owners want, so they're going to just have to do their bidding. That's what the owners want. Whatever makes the owners happy is what he said. And I think that he's dead wrong. I think that his comments, and by the way, to put some context, he's been hurt and he's eligible for $40 million, and he's been hurt for an extended period of games. He can only miss a maximum of 3 more games before he misses that 65 game cutoff and also misses out on that $40 million bonus. So that's the context. And it's something that I'm pretty passionate about because I like the rule when it was implemented, and now we're seeing it take effect. I also still support it. I don't think we would be hearing these comments if it wasn't him whose pockets were being hurt. I mean, let's be real. $40 million, that's a lot of money. So I would be upset too. But Tyrese Halliburton, and anyone else who may possibly be affected, like Joel Embiid, he just tore his meniscus. He's probably not going to be able to win MVP this year. Anybody who's upset with it, whether it's fans, media, coaches, players, y'all have no one to blame but the players themselves. Tyrese Halliburton, don't get mad at the owners. Get mad at your contemporaries. They are the ones who caused the NBA to go this far in implementing this rule. If load management wasn't a thing, if load management wasn't being abused, this wouldn't happen. You're absolutely. Draymond also has something to say about it. He believes that it's also a dumb rule, and the rules weren't like that in the past. He used the example that he lost the Defensive Player of the Year award to Kawhi Leonard when Kawhi only played about 51 games. I mean, that's fair. That's fair to say, but it's y'all who caused this thing to happen. No one else put this on y'all. There was once a time where it was the Warriors and the Bucks playing in Cleveland. The Warriors sat each and every one of their starters, Curry, Clay, Draymond, and Wiggins, for that game. Imagine, Cleveland and Golden State only plays twice a year anyways, once in Cleveland, once in Golden State. You are a resident of Cleveland, and you spend all this money because Curry got that premium ticket money. You spend all this money to go see Stephen Curry in action, or Draymond in action, or Clay in action, and all of them are sat. And then you pay this money to go see Giannis in action, and guess what? He sat out too for load management. It's unfortunate for players who are genuinely injured, like Tyrese Halliburton, like Joel Embiid. It's unfortunate they're not going to be able to, or they might not be able to cash in on these benefits, whether it's Joel MVP or whether it's Tyrese Halliburton getting $40 million. It's unfortunate. But the fact of the matter, or the truth of the matter, is that it's just collateral damage. That's just how it is. And they have no one to blame but your contemporaries. Everyone is friends with each other in the league. Y'all hold each other accountable. Y'all couldn't do that. So the NBA has to hold y'all accountable, because guess what? Y'all owe it to the fans and the pioneers of the game, the players who came before you. Y'all owe it to them to be on the court each and every time y'all are available. Listen, I want you to hear this, Noble. I want you to look at this. I did my research on this topic. Look, I did my research. I love these type of topics. I love talking about breaking down and analyzing the game itself, but I love this discussion, these type of discussions. Look, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's referred to as a top 3, top 5 player of all time. One of the greatest centers ever. He earned $17.5 million in playing salary over 20 years. Michael Jordan earned $94 million over his entire career in playing salary, and $60 million of it came in his last 2 years with the Bulls. Magic Johnson, he earned about $40 million in salary during his entire career. Now, let me give you these numbers. Ben Simmons signed a contract extension in 2021 that guaranteed him $177 million over 5 years, with him making $37.8 million this season alone. He's played 7 games.
He came back. He got hurt again.
Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi is a poster boy for this whole thing. He's a great player. He's doing good this season too. He's playing 42 games. He's on pace to go way above 70, possibly play most or around 80 games this season. He just signed a 3-year, $52 million contract extension. James Harden, he's making over $35.6 million this year and has made over $338.5 million in his 15-year career. Let's not talk about the money Jaylen Brown just got in his extension.
That's
Let's
more
not
than
talk about the
Harden.
money. You know what I'm saying? Let's not talk about the money Jason Tatum is finna get. Let's not talk about the money that Stephen Curry has made, right? And all the players that came before them, the players that built this game to where they can make all this money, has made pennies compared to that, right? And before I hand it off to you, one more note. I'm gonna list some players that has played over 70 games during, the amount of players and amount of times they've played over 70 games during their career. Okay, and I want you to listen to the eras, like the time frames. I'm saying, like, kind of keep that in mind. Michael Jordan, he played during 80s, 90s, mostly during 90s, late 80s, mid to late 80s. He's played over 70 games, 12 out of his 15 years in the league, including playing all 82 games 9 times. Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards of all time, played over 70 games, 11 out of his 13 years. And he only missed one game for 5 straight years. Gary Payton, regarded as one of the greatest defensive players and the best defensive guard of all time during probably the most physical period in basketball, right? He played over 70 games, 16 out of his 18 years in the league, including 9 seasons of 82 games. Nothing has changed as far as the amount of games played, but guess what? The game has not been as physical. They have made the game much safer. They have made the game much more adept, or not adept, but catered to entertainment and offense. They have made the game much more relaxed as far as on the players' bodies compared to some of, I just named Gary Payton. That man has to play MJ one night, then he has to go play Mahmoud Abdul Rauf the next night. Then he's gonna have to go play Clyde the next night. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's playing 82 games, 9 seasons of his 18 in the league. Now, guess what? Kawhi Leonard, he played over 70 games twice in 12 years. The last time he exceeded 70 was 2017. Ben Simmons, 2 out of his 6 years. The last time he did, and this includes holding out / missing an entire season in 2022. Plus, he can't string together consecutive games, like you just said. The man just got back from an injury, and he got hurt again. Anthony Davis played over 70 games twice in 12 years. The last time was 2018 when he was on the Pelicans. There is a problem here, and this is the reason. And there's a problem here, and this is why they implemented the 65-game rule. It's not an impossible task. Players got hurt back then too, but for a reason. Why does it seem like all of these players now can't seem to play over 70 games during a season? I'll let you go now. I that's the first part gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you get to it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta drink my water. I'm over here finna start sweating like Michael Irvin, bro. Man, I'm finna start preaching on this shit. Let me stop.
Yeah, I've got very mixed feelings on it. I think there's an argument to be made on both sides. By the way, first off, Draymond was incorrect when he was talking about Kawhi Leonard stealing this or getting the DPOY playing. Well, he did get it playing 64 games, but what he was really referring to was that Rudy Gobert got it in 2017, 2018 when he played 56 games. So he only played 56 games, and that's what he was referring to because Kawhi played 6.
Direct quote. I didn't.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I was more talking to Draymond because it wasn't the Kawhi Leonard one. But yeah, that was about that. About the actual thing itself, though, I have very, very mixed feelings because, like you said, it is absolutely the players' fault. Like, they have no one to blame but themselves. The load management was getting ridiculous. I think it was, like you said, as a fan, you go to see certain players. There's times when you go to see certain players. Now, me, I don't necessarily even when I've gone to Hawks games, I haven't gone to all that many, but even when I've gone for just the experience of the NBA itself. It wasn't necessarily going to see plays. I watched them play the Pistons. Like,
right,
I didn't, it was just the NBA experience itself. But there are people that spend big money to go watch certain players. Certain teams are in town. I'm a Warriors fan. If the Warriors come to town, that's a team I want to see. I want to see Steph in person. I want to see certain players in person. So I definitely agree that it was getting ridiculous. And then from an owner's perspective, These are multi-million-dollar, 9-digit investments. Like, it's a business. This is investments for owners. Players are players. Of course, they're still human beings, but they're, at the end of the day, they're investments. I'm paying you, and NBA contracts are fully guaranteed. It's not like the NFL. NBA contracts, you sign for 300 mil, you're getting 300 mil no matter what happens, unless it's very, very extraneous circumstance. But these are investments for the owners, and I understand the owners going, hey, we're paying you record money, and
Right.
y'all are playing less games.
Boy,
Like,
you better
what's
get
going
your ass
on?
on this goddamn court.
What's going on, man? I'm paying you 40 mil a year. What you mean you can't
Quit
play
playing with my top.
75 games? Exactly. So I understand that from an owner's perspective. My one gripe is actual injury. I think it's because, like Kawhi, I did say earlier, like I said, Draymond got it. Kawhi did get Defensive Player of the Year while playing 64 games. That is like for me, I know you have to cut it off somewhere, right? Like, eventually you have to have a cutoff. But
Right.
it's like, if someone plays 64 because they were actually legitimately hurt for, what is that, 18 games, I find it hard that, like, if someone has an outstanding season, that they miss out on certain awards. And I think accolades are gonna really, when we talk about player legacies, accolades is gonna really, like, you're gonna have to really know what you're talking about, because accolades are gonna lose value, because we're talking about, hey, this player won such and such award. He didn't even have the best season. It was just that he played the most games. So that's just from a ball talk perspective. That's just from a legacy perspective. And of course, availability is the best ability. Let's not get that, let's not get that twisted. There's nothing better than being on the court, being able to play. But I do think, like you said, Tyrese Halliburton's missing out on $40 million. That's big money for him to be, for him to miss out when he's actually hurt. Like, it's not a load management thing. He's been on the injury report for weeks. He's back. Well, he's played his first game back today, right?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
Because I
He came
saw his
back.
pregame fit or something like that. Crazy
Yeah, he
pregame
came back.
fit, by the way. TMNT, TMNT, little disguise fit on, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So
don't know
I
what
think
he got on, but hey,
my one
I might
gripe
make
about
that the thumbnail.
I think he should. That would be a perfect thumbnail. But like I said, that's my one gripe about it, is that there's players out there that actually get hurt. And if you end up playing 62, 63, 64 games, you miss out on not just, legacy things, but you could potentially miss out on a pretty big paycheck. And I think that was one way for owners to get in their little, get out of paying certain players certain things. Like I said, it is an investment. You can play a lot of games in terms of who's deserving of what and what such and such. But that's my one thing that I say, like, I don't know about that side of it. But like you said, they only got themselves to blame. The load managing thing was getting ridiculous. I think
Yeah.
it could be modified in the future to, like, if you're on the injury report for a certain amount of time, then it doesn't add up. I don't know. I'm not a negotiator, but I think there are ways to rectify it, and there are ways to add in contingencies without removing it entirely, because I do think it is good to have, because it was getting a little out of hand. But I think, they have to go to the extreme. They had to go to the extreme because of what was going on, and I don't fully blame them for that at all.
But you know what's crazy though? I don't even think that this was an extreme. Like 65 games is manageable. I just named all those players that played when, number one, you weren't getting paid not even a fraction what these players are being paid now. There was no such thing as load management. The NBA just came out and said that their study linking injury risk versus load management it wasn't substantial. There was no linking between load management and the prevention of injuries. So
Yeah.
that was just a whole bunch of hoopla. And it
But I
was
don't
just a way.
100% blame the players for that because there was times I know I've heard from players that the training staff schedules load management days and they have to listen to those.
Yeah, now that's different. Now, if a team is making you sit out, that's fine. But I know for certain that's not how it is every time. I
Oh
know
yeah,
for certain.
definitely
It's,
not every
it's,
time.
it's and so and why I'm so passionate about it is because I came up watching basketball probably mid 2000s when I for sure was watching basketball around 2005, 2006. When I really got into it was 2008 with Kobe versus the Celtics in the finals. That whole season, you know, that was a really memorable year for me, especially that finals matchup. And of course, Kobe Bryant as well, the player, the man, everything. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to some of these NBA players as well. We see players like Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Kobe Bryant were one of their favorite players. And the younger and younger the league gets, we're going to be seeing more and more players say Kobe Bryant was the GOAT or LeBron was the GOAT. Players that are kind of in that generation of talent because that's a generation who grew up watching them.
They ain't
People didn't
watch
watch
Mike.
MJ play.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't
So
even
we're
watch
going to
Mike. So
yeah, so we're going to be seeing a lot of more people say Kobe is the GOAT. And I get that, I understand. But when you bring up Kobe, don't just bring up him as a player. Don't bring up the fact that he's a 5-time NBA champion, NBA MVP, however 18, 19-time All-Star. Don't just bring that up. Don't bring up Kobe Bryant, the man who was one of the greatest, which is one of the greatest motivators, one of the most intellectual basketball minds. Don't just bring up Kobe Bryant, the man. Bring him up. Bring up Kobe Bryant, the competitor. Bring up Kobe's mentality when you want to say Kobe was your favorite player. Look, he's played over 70 games 11 times in his career and played 82 games 4 times in his career. 20 years. Mind you, we all have seen the image of the amount of injuries he had on just his hand. We've seen him pop his Achilles, get up, shoot the free throws, make the free throws, and walked off under his own power. That was back in like 2013 against the Warriors. That pretty much ended his prime. We have seen him fly from LA to Colorado and back during an active court case and still play NBA basketball. During the playoffs, he will come back after halftime, still suit up and get out on the court and hit a buzzer beater. True story. Look it up if you haven't yet. We have seen this man on the bench with the team doctor having him pop in his fingers after they've been dislocated or tape up his fingers when he breaks them and be back on the court right after without a hitch in his game. Everybody gets hurt. It is just what it is. So we wouldn't I want to come like just look at these players now compared to then. It seems like the competitive aspect isn't there as much as it was back then. We would never see Kobe miss the chance to play against D Wade. We will never see Kobe miss the chance on purpose to play against Bron. We will never see Kobe miss the chance to play against Iverson. We will never miss the chance, or LeBron would never miss the chance to play against Paul Pierce and the Celtics or against Carmelo. KG, he would never miss a chance to play against Tim Duncan. Kobe would make sure that he is there for the fans. The mentality was me at 80%, 75%, even 65% was better than me at 0%. That's how the game is supposed to be played. That's why the 65 game rule is implemented. It's because for the folks that are sitting out on purpose for load management, for the players who are sitting out for, I mean, you're a professional athlete. If you sprained your ankle, I'm sorry, bro. You're getting paid all this money. You need to put some icy hot on that mug. You need to tape it up and you need to be out there. I was over here training I had to fight 3 fights in a row with a sprained wrist, including fight camp. And I'm an amateur fighter. So I know there shouldn't be a reason for a professional athlete to not do so. This is why you're getting paid all this money, because you're putting your body in harm's way We understand that, so you're getting paid for that. But we also are the fans who got you this money in the first place. Show some respect and pay it forward to the people who deserve it most, which are the fans. That's my whole thing with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with almost everything you said, or pretty much everything you said. Like it's just especially from a fan aspect, because at the end of the day, those are your paycheck. Like we as fans are your paycheck. Without us, without the NBA becoming as much of a media, mega corporation that it is, you don't get these $300 million contracts. So
Also, hold
yeah,
on before. Hold on before. Same thing with the $300 million contract. For the people saying lessen the amount of games in a season, you don't get that money without playing 82 games, because that's less time on TV. Let's just
yeah.
put that in perspective as well. So go ahead. I just want to put that in perspective as well.
No, for sure. And I don't lessening the games, I don't think is definitely not the right answer. There's no reason to lessen the games. Even
No.
if you want to make the season 2 weeks longer by adding, if it takes away a couple back-to-backs and you make the season 2 weeks longer, I'm fine with that. But it's certain things like I don't think that there's any reason, like you said, you're gonna get banged up, you're gonna get hurt. That's part of the job, man. You're not gonna be 100% in every game. You're, like, me and just a high school athlete, literally just high school football. I was playing through messed up shoulders, messed up back. And I was a high school athlete. I wasn't even doing it
Yep.
I wasn't getting paid millions of dollars. Like,
Yep.
like you're gonna get banged up, you're gonna get hurt. Now, injured and hurt are two totally
They're
different
different.
things.
Yeah, they're
You can
different.
get
Yeah.
if you get injured, I totally understand not playing. I don't ask you to go out there on a torn ACL. But if you got some aches in your knee, you got some aches in your back, your shoulder, bro, you're at the level, you're getting paid way too much money. Even if you were getting paid, even if you weren't getting paid as much money as you're getting paid, you're still at the level where you have to have, you just gotta have that dog in you, bro. Like
Right.
at the end of
And
the
we're
day,
talking about stars who are doing this.
exactly. Like where you just gotta suck it up. And like I do think it was just a snowball effect. And I think the owners were putting their foot down somewhere to stop the snowball getting bigger. Because where you're at right now, people are frequently 70-ish, I would say about 70-ish games, 70 plus or minus a couple games. Maybe I'd say about 74, 75 is where about most players are playing right now. That numbers would just keep, if they didn't put their foot down, that number would probably just keep getting lower. Then we're gonna see stars playing 60 games, and we're gonna see stars playing 55. So I think they had to put their foot down somewhere. And that is one, like you said, for the fans, for the owners, for just themselves, like just holding
Yeah.
yourself to the standard that you should be. Like, you should want to play. I'm making $300. If I'm making $300 million, I don't want anybody to say I don't deserve every penny of that 300 million.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Because you
that's a
never
standard I
know.
hold. Exactly, that's a standard I hold for myself, and I think they need, they have to have that standard for
Ben
themselves.
Simmons talking about you can't play
Like,
because you got a knee contusion, bro. You're making $40 million. What?
and so I think it comes down to internally knowing what, just making a business. You're making like decisions that I think are in a way selfish. They're selfish. You're making decisions for yourself. You're not thinking about, oh, how would, I'm not thinking about this kid that flew from New York to DC to come watch me play. I'm not thinking about, so I think it just more so boils down to having a certain standard for yourself, having respect for your fans, and having respect for your people you're paying, you the owners.
Right. And before we wrap up this subject, it's something that, since when do we get paid for not doing our job? And I'm not just talking about sports now. I'm talking about any industry. Besides, let's not even talk about owners and CEOs and all them people. I don't classify them as real individuals. I'm talking about us, the normal population. When do we get paid for not doing our job? That's what they have paid time off for. And guess what? We all run out of PTO if you're eligible for it. So the 65 games, you got how many? Well, yeah, that's your PTO. That's your PTO. Yeah, it's different now that you have something in front of you. I know. Yes, y'all not used to it, but it's just the fact of the matter. People don't get paid if they don't do their job. You don't get paid, and even if you're hurt, and like I said,
and they still do get paid. We're talking about bonus money. We're talking about bonus money. We're not talking about your regular paycheck. We're not talking about the pen on the paper contract money. We're talking about bonus money.
Bonuses. So and like it's like you said, it's very unfortunate that an injury can prevent it, but because for example, Joel Embiid is averaging like 35 points right now and 11 some rebounds, and he's on the way for an historic year. 3 straight years of averaging 30 plus points. Like it's unfortunate, but it's collateral damage. It's just you just get caught up. It's the belly of the beast, and you got caught up in it. It's unfortunate, but that's just what it is. And even with that being the case, if you're hurt for an extended amount of time, then you shouldn't be allowed to win the award anyways. It's a hot take, I know. But if you're hurt for an extended period of time, you shouldn't even be eligible to win it. But just period. Because why are you only playing 60 games and you're winning MVP? You're missing that's pretty much that's a chunk of the season you're missing. That's 22 plus. That's at least 22 games that you're missing if you only play 60 games and win MVP. So, of course, in the future, we are going to have to put it in context, but I don't have no problem doing it. We do it with football already with the 17 games.
I'm about to say you got to know ball, bro. You can't just rely on accolades anyway.
Just know.
But that's I'm a little like I said, we can wrap it up soon. But I'm a little different on the injury because like there's a stat in baseball my baseball fans know it called WAR. It's wins above replacement. It builds over the totality of the season. So if you don't play a certain amount of games, your WAR is going to be lower. But if you're outstanding in the games you play, you might have the same WAR as somebody that played the full season. So, but that's an MLB stat. So I think if you did have, as far as a game requirement for awards, like saying, if you don't play a certain amount of games, you shouldn't win an award anyway. I think as far as awards, we should just put more consideration into games played should just be higher on the priority list in terms of what it's not just your averages, right? We should include totals. How many total points did you have? How many total rebounds, total assists? So, but that would be my only thing about that, is that they just need to have more emphasis on games played when we talk about awards. If someone plays 68 games, and someone else played 82, I'm gonna value that 82 a lot more because that's a lot more, that's a lot less rest. That's a lot less playing at 100%. He might have been playing at 80, 90%, whereas this person's playing at 100% every night because they're taking certain nights off. So I think regardless of the CBA, games played should be much more of have much more emphasis when talking about awards.
And that's up to the voters to understand, and the people who get a vote on these postseason awards to put into consideration. Like, know your stuff. Don't just look at 36 points per game and say, oh, well, he has to be MVP. He has to be. Look at how many points. That's not the only thing that factors into it. Like you said, I'm availability to the best ability. And I see it on my own team right now with the Hawks. DeAndre Hunter, he's always hurt. He's always in and out the lineup. That shit is annoying because, and I get it, like I know injuries are a thing, but you can't build consistency. The big three for the Nets, Kyrie, Harden, and KD only play like 15 games over 3 years together.
The Suns' big three yesterday played more games than the Nets' big three.
And that's over. And Bradley Beal has been out damn near this whole season. That is a shame. So you have to put all that stuff in consideration, especially the games played. So like I said, it's unfortunate that players who actually get hurt has to kind of miss out on certain things, but it is an unintended consequence of a previous set precedent by your contemporaries. So y'all have no one to blame but yourselves. It's just the truth of the matter. But sticking with the NBA, I'm on my scorched earth tour. I'm on my raise against the NBA and anyone who has a take that I find very dumb. The All-Star reserves were announced earlier today. And boy, oh boy, I am irritated. I haven't been this mad at sports in a very long time, mostly because my Falcons and Hawks haven't really given me much to be upset about. They've just given me stuff to be disappointed, and I'm used to that as an Atlanta fan. So it doesn't bother me too much. It doesn't bother me too much. But now I'm pissed. So we're gonna get right into this. The All-Star reserves have been announced for the Western Conference, and mind you, we've gone back to East versus West. We're not doing the player team captains anymore, which I'm so thankful for. That shit just flopped, honestly. Like, it was a cool concept, but I've always liked traditional East versus West. And for the Western All-Stars, the All-Star reserves, we have Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, aka Michael Jordan, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Karl Anthony Towns. And for the East, we have Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, Tyrese Maxey, and Paolo Banchero. There's a couple names missing on there. Two of which being, the De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis being probably the two biggest. I've even seen some people say James Harden, but I'm fine with that, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. But those two probably being the biggest. And then for the East, I started the last segment off, so I'm gonna let you start this one off. I'll let you say whatever you have to say about the reserves, and I'm gonna save my upsetness, my anger for after.
You want me to name them?
Yeah, I'll let you go with you can say whatever you want about the reserves. I'll let you go first.
Eastern Conference, we have Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jalen Brunson of the Knicks, Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, Julius Randle of the Knicks, Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers, and Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic. Those are some interesting choices, especially near the end there. Especially near the end there. I think that one of the, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to accolades. Funniest thing is that last night I was in my bed and I was thinking about the Defensive Player of the Year award. And I was thinking in my head, I was going in my head like, what? Because I don't know, for whatever reason, Marcus Smart's Defensive Player of the Year award came in my head. And I was like, it's interesting to me that there's certain players that have never received a Defensive Player of the Year. Tim Duncan has never received a Defensive Player of the Year. That's kind of crazy. You mean to tell me that out of the 16-time All-Defense, he was never the best? Scottie Pippen, LeBron, those are all names that have never received a Defensive Player of the Year. So I was just thinking in my head, accolades are becoming more and more of less talking points in my head. When I think about player legacy, accolades are for me, it's becoming more and more of what do you bring on court, because accolades are iffy. They're very iffy. And I think that Trae Young being snubbed two years in a row, not just this year, he was also snubbed last year. And now 2 years in a row, he is averaging 26 and 10 and is not an all-star. This year, he's averaging 27 and 11 and isn't an all-star. And people are going to bring up record. Okay, well, if you look at record, why is Paolo there? Why is LeBron there? Why is Curry there? Curry's 12th. The West, their Warriors are 12th in the West. So it's not record. It's not record because we see people with bad record make the all-star, and it shouldn't matter anyway. And then when you look at it, people are going to bring up, oh, well, defense matters. First off, if you watch the games, Trae Young is a much better defender than he was in the past. He's near the top of the league in charges drawn. He's near the top of the league in steals. while he's not the best on-ball defender, I'm not gonna act like he's out there Gary Payton. He's a much better defender than he was in the past. And I'm not gonna act like Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell and Tyrese Maxey are defensive juggernauts, because they're not. Right? These aren't players that
No,
are so
not at
much
all.
better. Jalen Brunson, he plays good defense, but he's not a defensive superstar. Tyrese Maxey, I would argue, isn't a better defender than Trey.
He's the worst one. He's probably the worst one on this whole goddamn list.
And not just that, he's playing with the MVP on his team, the reigning MVP on his team. Trey Young has never had an all-star teammate. So if you talk about record, you talk about this and that, I don't think players are being held to the same standard throughout, because there's no reason Tyrese Maxey should be in over Trey. There's no reason why Paulo should be in over Trey. I think it's just, we all know All-Star, Pro Bowl, popularity contests. Let's be honest, they're popularity contests, but they are accolades and they are something that we look at. So I think it's just, it's a shame. It's a shame that Trey didn't make it. I would say he's the biggest snub this year between both conferences. And I just think that it's a terrible snub. Randall, I believe Julius Randle might be hurt. Why? Yeah, exactly. He's hurt, so maybe they'll give Trey an injury invitation. But I don't think he should. Yeah, and B2, so they might move Bam to the starting position. But if I was Trey, I'm not taking it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how it works for bonus money or anything like that. If it is, then maybe you take it. But if I'm Trey, I've made some All-Star games, but y'all clearly don't want me. Y'all don't want me. So I don't know if I would go if I was him. But
I just want to start this off with a question. Why do they hate Trey Young? They meaning players, media, coaches. We talked about it before in a previous episode. He finished 6th in player voting for starters. He finished 6th in player voting. He finished 6th in media voting. But he finished 2nd in fan voting. You said it. The All-Star game is a popularity contest. How can someone who was voted 2nd most by fans not end up in the All-Star game, period? This is a fan event. The shit would be useless if it wasn't for fans wanting to watch it. It would be pointless. It don't count for anything. This is purely exhibition and purely spectacle. And the person or a player that was voted 2nd most by fans to be an all-star starter isn't even in a reserve. The NBA coaches decide the reserves. There's 30 of them. And you're telling me that that they couldn't come to an agreement that Trey was worthy over some of these other players. 30 coaches, and telling me majority of them picked Paolo Banchero to be a reserve over Trey Young.
But when that game come around, they're gonna blitz him, right? So on the court, you see them.
You treat him like a superstar, but you want to act goddamn brand new when it's time to vote him in. So this is what I mean by this is NBA politics at its finest. This is agenda pushing. You're playing with this man's top, trying to act like he's something that you're trying to act like he's less than what he is. And I hate this in sports. We've seen it in all sports, how politics can get in the way of a player's true talent, true what he deserves. Trey Young is the latest example. He's averaging 27 points, which is 10th most in the league. He's averaging 11 assists, 10.9, 11 assists, which is 2nd most behind Halliburton. There isn't a single Eastern Conference guard ranked above him in points per game. No, I'm sorry. I think maybe Donovan Mitchell, and that's it. And that's it in points per game. And only Tyrese Halliburton has more assists than him. He's also top 15 in steals per game. Like you said, he's up near the top of the league in charges per game. He's top 15 in total steals and 12th in steals per game. Against the Raptors on the 28th of January, he recorded his 59th career 30-plus point, 10-plus assist game. which passes Magic Johnson for 7th most in NBA history. We're talking about Magic Irvin Johnson that he just passed. He has 3 straight double-doubles and has 29 total on the season, which is 6th most in the league and the most amongst all backcourt players. So why is he not an all-star? I didn't just give you straight stats, like box score stats. I gave you, nigga, historic stuff. He just passed Magic Johnson. He has 6 most double-doubles in the league. He has the most amongst all backcourt players. He only missed a stretch of games due to a concussion. So it's not like he's just sitting out or he's constantly hurt. What is the issue against Trae Young? And I would argue that it's not just Trae Young that the media has an issue with, or it's the city of Atlanta. I'm gonna be real. The Atlanta gets so much disrespect as far as national news coverage is concerned. Number one, we are almost never talked about. And I get it. Yeah, we'll be mediocre and why we want to talk about a bad team. But we sit up here and talk about the Cowboys every year. We were talking about the Cowboys when they were going 9-7 with Tony Romo. Missing the playoffs, they were still in the news headlines. We will talk about mediocre activity. We will talk we will talk about Joe Flacco's comeback and Jake Browning and really putting up these discussions on national ESPN news, debating about Jake Browning and players like Joshua Dobbs. Yet the only time Atlanta is in the news cycle is for negative things. When we choked the Super Bowl, when we lost the World Series, or not the World Series, when we fumbled our chance to the World Series this year. Against who do we play? The Phillies, right? We lost to the Phillies.
There again.
The same thing last year. It's always the same thing. Trae Young hasn't been in the topic. I haven't seen a ESPN clip on Trae Young since 9 months ago. There's a certain vendetta against Atlanta, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why. Like, we're only in the news for negativity concerning sports, and it's very frustrating because now we're talking about one of the best point guards in the league. I hold Trae Young accountable for all of his faults and all of his flaws, but I also give him the praise when he deserves it, which is so often. I praise him for being the greatest superstar that the Atlanta Hawks franchise has had since Dominique Wilkins, which was in the 80s. Right? People want to hold nuts over Trae Young and the Hawks because we traded for him and traded away Luka Doncic. That's always what people talk about. Yet y'all aren't looking at the totality of what Trae Young has brought to the Hawks and brought to the city, and just looking at him as an individual player. That is all-star material. That is all NBA material. But 6th in the league in player voting. Players must not like him neither. 6th in media voting. The media definitely doesn't like him. The coaches didn't even vote him in as a reserve. There is a clear disconnect here, and I'm not sure why. You're absolutely right. If I'm Trae Young, bump the All-Star game. Y'all not going to show me no respect. So why am I going to waste my time going out to Indiana when I can just stay at home with my family? Like, it's so aggravating. It pisses me off, or it pissed me off when I first saw those reserves get announced and Trae Young was left off. Congratulations to all the players that made it, but it's my disappointment and anger at how he didn't make it far succeeds or far trumps my happiness that I feel for the players that did. You gotta be real.
Yeah,
what did he do to not deserve it?
Somebody's got to come out to put him on, but I have no problem doing that. I have no problem taking Tyrese Maxey out to put Trae on. I have no problem taking Paolo out to put Trae on. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's a terrible. I don't know the guy personally, right? Maybe he's a bad person behind the scenes. Maybe he's a asshole behind the scenes. I don't know. I don't know the guy, But that shouldn't matter even if he was, because we're talking about on court production, and on court production, you cannot give me, how many spots is that? You cannot give me 12 players in the East, 11, 12 players in the East that are better than Trae Young. Like you said, you named all the stats in context, that, all the records being broken, all the things, and you look at the things, and we're gonna look back on his career. We're gonna look back on his career because we do it with players now. We're gonna look back on his career and be like, what happened? Why didn't he have certain accolades that he deserves? And the saying, they don't love you till you're gone. The people that look at LeBron the way they look at him now because he's still playing will probably have a different tone in 5 years, 10 years when he's gone. Same thing with Tom Brady. When Brady was in the league, I know you personally, you didn't like Brady when he was in the league, but now that he's retired, now that he's
unless he want to
retired,
come play for the Falcons, his ass can stay on the couch too. I do not miss that man playing against me.
but now that he's retired, you can take a different appreciation for him because there's no bias in it. So we're gonna look back on his career and be like, what this straight up, it's BS what happened. And like you said, I don't know what I agree with the whole Atlanta point too. I mean, just living here, it feels like the sports cycle rarely talks about Atlanta in any sport. Honestly, the sport I would say that they have the most pull is MLB comparatively to the comparative to the other MLB teams. I would say Braves are one of the more highly talked about teams. But that's because they're good. If they weren't good, I don't know if we would even be talking. They didn't have Acuna and have Ozzy, Austin, Matt Olson, all this loaded roster. I don't know if they would even be in the conversation. So I think that there's an agenda somewhere. There's an agenda somewhere. I don't know whose agenda. I don't know what, why, or who. I don't know any of the 5 W's or the H. But yeah, I just think it's a shame. It's a shame. I don't know what more he can do.
He's the most disrespected player in the league. He is the most hated player in the league. And like you said, we're gonna look back on this. And guess what? This type of discussion is not, it's going to fall to the wayside in another 10 years, another 10, 15 years after he retires. We're not gonna look back on this and put into context, oh well, he was finished 6 here and 6 here, and the coaches didn't do. You're not gonna talk about that. You're just gonna look at blah 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 all-star out of 17 years. Oh, we only made all-star game 5 times out of 17 years. That's all they're gonna look at. And if there's we don't look at all-star voting back then. We don't that's not the thing that's gonna happen. So this context is not gonna be able to be used. And you're absolutely right. It's gonna be a thing where, guess what? 15 years after Trae Young retires, we're gonna be seeing Instagram posts. Man, Trae Young was so underrated. Fire emoji, fire emoji. Swipe the post and you're gonna
100
see all his
emoji, 100
highlights.
emoji.
Bro, they do it with everybody now. They're doing it with players that weren't even underrated. They're doing it shit like Gilbert Arenas is a perfect example. That man was getting a similar treatment in the NBA as well because of his stupidity with the damn gun incident and his
That was a
character
little
on the
different.
court.
That was a little different, and that was even more extreme. And Trey hasn't had an incident like that.
Yeah,
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, Trey is pretty scandal
he's a
free.
fine. Right, no problems with Trae Young. They do it all the time with these players in the NFL as well, in the NBA. And then when you look back on it, bro, they tried to paint it like y'all weren't the main ones doing so. Like, don't give flowers when they're gone. Like, this man deserves to be in an all-star game. He deserves to be an all-NBA player. You gonna look at a goddamn record, like you said, LeBron James is like 10 games under 500 on the road. LeBron James. Stephen Curry is at the same record. He's around it. The Warriors have the same record as the Hawks, damn near. So we sitting up here talking about some records. We want to look at. We trying to use all these other stats when, in fact, excuse me, that's not really what matters. For the All-Star game, it's a popularity contest, like you said. And how does a man that finished second in play in fan voting still not manage to get in one way or another? The shit is stupid, and that's not the word I want to use. But I digress. Let me take a, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to, I can feel the perspiration right there on my brow. I'm about to get up my soapbox, man, and I got the crowd surrounding me right now, and they all cheering and saying, "Yeah, you're absolutely right." Finna goddamn have a mob in front of the Pacers arena for All Star Weekend, because at this point, man, we finna riot. Me and the whole city of Atlanta. So we're gonna move on now. We're gonna move on to some NFL talk. Possibly, you know what I'm saying? Calm down a little bit. Just
Bring it
calm
back
down.
in, bring it
Bring
back
it back
in, get
in.
some
Yeah,
zen, get some
55
ASMR
minutes.
going.
We have some very heated topics. Um, let's bring it in. Talk about some football. The Detroit Lions and their future. What what in your eyes, what is next for them? You see that they kept their offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. That was a big move. You know, keeping him. He said that he wants to stay with the team for another year. Um, Building continuity is so important in all aspects of sports, but it's especially so in football. I feel, because of the amount of staff, the amount of players that you have with you. So that was a super great thing to hear if you're Detroit, if you're the Detroit Lions organization, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, if you're one of the players. Also, I liked it. I like when coordinators stay within their staff. It shows that you want to build something real. I get it. Off Ben Johnson would have easily gotten a head coaching job from any team, especially the Commanders and the Seahawks, which were they were the last two
The
teams that didn't
Commanders
have a head
flew
coach.
out to see him, and
Right.
they told him
So
no. He told him
thi-
no.
this this is you're passing up on a head coaching job because you are invested in what y'all have building there. Um, but y'all also have to look forward to the future as well concerning Jared Goff in the quarterback position. So I'll ask you, should Jared Goff get an extension? He's due for one. I think next season is his last year before he's due for an extension. Is he the man for Detroit?
I would say so. He obviously, he's not top five quarterback. I would argue top 10, top 12 at the absolute lowest. But yeah, I would think so because this is a team. They were just in the NFC Championship. They're built to win right now. They're fourth youngest. They're the fourth youngest team in the league. Um, they're ninth in cap. They've got a boatload of money. They got a lot of people to resign. They have a lot of people to resign, but they have the money to resign. It looks like they have the money to resign a lot of those guys. And so I would think this is a team that's ready to win. This is a team. Ben Johnson, he's going to renew his contract. He's not going to be there forever, right?
Right.
Eventually, he's going to want to move on, and it speaks volumes to how Dan Campbell and the culture that they set. Like we said, we've talked about it before. The culture that they've set up. Someone turning down a surefire head coaching position just to stay and build with this team as a coordinator. Um, it's a different culture there in Detroit. They're ready to win. They are not ready to go into quarterback limbo, because I can tell you right now, as a 49ers fan who is coming off of the most quarterback controversial team in the league before this year, it sucks being in quarterback hell. It sucks being in quarterback limbo. And when you're quarterback away, Falcons are quarterback away. It's that's the hardest position to find. So when you have a guy that's able to take you there, and I think Jared Goff is able to take you there. They were 2 quarters away from being there, being in a Super Bowl.
Right.
So I think they're in a position to win right now. You've got a quarterback that's capable. He's not the best. He's not a top 5 guy, but he's capable. And so I think, especially with Jared Goff, because quarterback is the most important position on the field, he should be a priority. Now, do I think he should get top 1 money? Do I think he should get top 3 money? I don't know about that one, but Daniel Jones did make the quarterback market a little bit difficult, getting a $40 million contract when he's terrible.
Yeah.
But aside from that, he's definitely going to get a bag. He's definitely going to get probably 50 something million a year, especially because of Daniel Jones getting 40 million a year. But they've got the money. They've got the capital. They've got like I said, they got cap space, they've got picks, they're young. They need to build what they have and not try to go out and restart the process for any meet.
I agree, cause man, I'm talking about when we got rid of Matt Ryan and we shipped his ass to the Colts. When I tell you, I've had to experience some of the worst quarterbacking I have seen in a very long time. I now I feel for these teams like, oh my god, the 49ers before Colin Kaepernick. Feel for the 49ers after Colin Kaepernick. Feel for the Commanders / Redskins. I feel for the Bears fans. Feel for all of these different teams that never managed to keep a quarterback, a successful top 10 level quarterback in position. Right. I was blessed with Matt Ryan for all my life. And then I had to go see Marcus Mariota play for about a season and a half. And it was such a shock to me that I still haven't recovered from 2 seasons ago. I think Jared Goff 100% should get the extension. He should stay with the team. He was the quarterback of one of the most productive offenses in the league. He still has a few question marks on his game. Like, man, when I say Jared Goff under pressure is so bad. Like it's not a pretty sight to see when he's under pressure. And I say that because I know some people might say, well, when you have a 300-pound man running at you, blah blah blah, bro. I sat up there and saw Brock Purdy stay in the pocket and make some amazing throws in the Packers game
destroyed.
and in the Lions game, getting just straight out smacked. So I don't want to hear that excuse. When you're a quarterback, you understand that sometimes your pocket's going to collapse and you got to make that goddamn throw one way or another. A smart, educated throw, of course. But if a man is running across the middle and he's open and you feel that damn breath on the back of your neck, you better take that hit and make that pass count. Jared Goff doesn't do that.
Especially if you're not mobile enough to, I'm saying, if you're mobile enough to juke them and make them miss a tackle and extend the play, okay, yeah, you don't have to stay in there for every hit. But you're not
exactly. Like you got to know your game, and if that's not part of your game, then yeah, you better be used to get a hit. But get that goddamn flat jacket on. You better put that back protector on too, and just be ready to brace it.
And it's not like he's Joe Burrow getting hit every play. He's got one of the best lines in the league,
man. So it's Jared Goff definitely has to improve in that area, but like you said, man, being in quarterback hell is not fun at all. And the Lions are in a position to win now. Like, it's kind of crazy to say because I didn't want to believe it all season. But they proved to me that they are a winning team. They proved to me that they are in win now. They proved that they're a championship contender. Like you said, they were 2 quarters away, but shit, even in the fourth quarter, they were a few plays away. We were a few plays away from exactly a few plays away from a Super Bowl trip. So Jared Goff definitely needs to get the extension. Ben Johnson did amazing work with Jared Goff for the time that he's been there. He's repaired his career. Jared Goff just has to continue improving as a quarterback. He's about to be 31, so he's still relatively young. He still has a lot of mileage left. And continuity. I'm so big on continuity. Keep these certain factors in place. Try to keep your head coach in place as much as possible. If your offensive coordinator is one that is calling the plays and is leading an amazing offense, same thing with your defensive coordinator. Try to keep them in place. I know it's harder because head coaching positions, if they're really successful, but try to keep them as in home base as possible. Trust me, I know when we lost Kyle Shanahan, the offense plummeted. It sucks. You know it too from losing defensive coordinators constantly too. So try to keeping those factors in place, keeping your quarterback in place, keeping that consistent, keeping your stars consistent, keeping their leaders consistent. All of that stuff goes into building a championship roster. The Lions have one. They're growing as a team together. They have cap space, like you said, and the more and more that they get to play together and gel together and mature, you're going to be seeing them in postseason championship action much more. It's going to be hard to get back there, but they have the talent. If you have the continuity to do so, we're going to be seeing the Lions and talking about him for a while. So 100% Jared Goff should get that extension. Absolutely. And I don't know what type of magic the Lions are working. I don't know what the hell Dan Campbell has. Whatever spell he casted to where the Lions are in a championship game, and Ben Johnson declined all these interviews or declining these jobs and whatnot. I don't know what they got back there, but hey, kudos to the Lions. The Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik, he's staying with the Texans as well. So is their quarterback coach Gerard Johnson. Two members of a very high-powered offense, one of the best offenses in the league. CJ Stroud having just completely coming into the league looking like a top 10 quarterback, looking like the future of the league, definitely the future of the Texans by far. That was 100% a great thing to keep, or Bobby Slow was 100% amazing to keep for the offensive coordinator position. Texas finished with a 10-7 record. CJ Stroud is 100% is most likely going to win offensive rookie of the year. He finished the year with 4,108 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions in 15 games. That is not a rookie stat line. Like, goddamn, what the fuck? That is not a rookie stat line. Gerard Johnson, great work. I think that Gerard Johnson got interviews from the Buccaneers, I think, and then one other team. But yeah, so yeah, like it's funny seeing these coordinators stay in these positions instead of taking these head coaching jobs. I like to see it personally, like build something from the ground up. The Lions, y'all started with nothing. The Texans, y'all started with nothing, and now y'all are both in the playoffs. Y'all are both going to continue to get better and better and better. All things go right. Build something, build your legacy. This is the right way to do so. Don't rush into these positions that, look, if Ben Johnson went to the damn Seahawks or the Commanders and had a flunk of a season or two, you know what I'm saying? Like some things just always don't work out. You gotta have to play your cards right. I think that's what they're both doing for the Bobby Slowik and Gerard Johnson and Ben Johnson. They're playing their cards right, building their stock up more. Everybody's not a one and done player. For example, in college, sometimes you got to stay 2 years. Sometimes you got to stay 3. But as long as you play your cards right, the opportunity is still going to present itself.
Exactly.
Look
Nobody's
at us
gonna.
with Raheem Morris.
It's all gonna come back around. I'm sorry, Ben Johnson can. Uh, this head coaching job, obviously, unless he goes out and does a complete dud and just doesn't
Yeah.
target someone in the worst offices in the league, which that's not going to happen. It's these opportunities are still going to be there, and they might even be better opportunities. Look at Commanders. Obviously, they got a lot of cap. They got some things to look forward to, but if that's not, I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
If that's not a team that you think you are in a position to build with, then you don't need to rush into that team. You don't need to be a head coach just to say that you're a head coach, because when you go out there and now you might put up a dud and now you look bad, because it's a lot. There's a major difference between being a head coach and being a coordinator, right? Like
Absolutely.
there's
Yep.
not, even if you're not calling both plays, you're not the defense, you might not call because if Ben Johnson he would probably be OC as well, but you still need to hire a DC. You still need to hire a coaching staff. So there's a lot that goes into being a head coach that you only learn from your experience of being underneath and building with the team. You can also learn how to build a team for yourself. You
Yeah.
learn how to evaluate talent. You learn the process of becoming great. If you rush into that process, you're not going to know the required steps to get to becoming great. So I think it's beautiful to see these coordinators keeping their positions, because like you said, watching teams build is fun. Watching
Yeah.
teams go from slowly, terrible to, all right, we got a little something, to, all right, this is a legit
Okay.
team,
Oh, whoa.
to,
Hold
all
on.
right,
Hold on now.
exactly,
Yeah.
to, all right, now we expect you to be great. When the Lions, I expect, barring crazy injuries, I expect the Lions to be great next year. And watching that process, it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like you said, like this year has just been so crazy. It's like the NFL season has just been crazy. The Lions were in an NFC Championship game this close from a Super Bowl. The Texans, first year with their new quarterback, their new head coach, and they over here giving they made it to the playoffs. They went to halftime with the Ravens tied. I know it wasn't a pretty game, but and they got blown out in the second half, but they was tied with the best defense in the league, one of the best teams in the league. So yeah, there's always building blocks. Like you said, building blocks. Some people call it paying your dues. It's kind of an old school mentality, but it's the same thing. Like you can't be. Everybody wants to be a boss, but they don't want to have. They don't want to try to. They don't want to do what it takes to get there. And it's absolutely right. It's different being a head coach. You don't got that long of a leash. Look, some of these teams, unless your name is Jason Garrett, unless your name is Mike McCarthy, and you play for Jerry Jones or you coach under Jerry Jones's team, you don't got a long leash. You got about. We saw the Colts coach get fired after one season.
Man,
So
Commander Panthers didn't even get a full season.
yeah,
Like, he's
you don't
in a
get
terrible situation.
right. And of course, some of these owners too, like
Yeah, now,
some of these
now
owners,
we
yeah,
we can't admit that some triggers are pulled a little too quick.
yeah. But for the sake, it's one of those things though. Like your leash might not be as long depending on what team you go to. That's awesome. You got to factor too. So I like it. But on another hand, we got two teams that kept their coordinators, and we got one team that lost both. I can't remember what's the Ravens offensive coordinator's name.
Mike, Mike McDonald. Or no, that's defense. Was that defense?
That's a DC, yeah.
I don't remember their offensive coordinator's name. Let me get that for you. But yeah,
Well, the Seahawks took the Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald from them and hired them as their new head coach. It's exactly like I said in the last episode. After the Ravens lost to the Chiefs, it's hard to keep a unit together. When everything is set up perfectly, when everything is going right as far as your player personnel, as far as the play on the field, as far as play calling is concerned, it's all of that. And when everything is going right, you need to capitalize as much as you can on that situation that you have, because you never know what can change just a few days after you lose. So the Ravens, who were expected to win against the Chiefs, number one, the Ravens who were expected to win against the Chiefs, the Ravens who had, roster-wise, player personnel-wise, a better team than the Chiefs. Context-wise, they were playing at home. Everything was going. They had the best defense in the league. They had a future two-time MVP on their roster. They have one of the best. They have the best run game in the league. They have one of the best offenses in totality in the league. You're leading the league in sacks, and you don't get the job done and make it to the Super Bowl like you are supposed to, like you were expected to. And now guess what? You lose your defensive coordinator who was calling the plays for that league leading defense. You lose your defensive coordinator who was calling the plays for that team, or for that defensive unit that was leading the league in sacks. You lost a crucial part of your team, a crucial part of your defense's identity to the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, that's a good pickup for them. I believe, who was it? RG3 said that with the hiring of Mike McDonald, we're going to be seeing the Legion of Boom Part 2 in Seattle. I hope so. I love defense. So we can see Mike McDonald kind of bring a similar culture and a similar play calling style over to Seattle. I would love to see it. But it's exactly like I said, man. It's hard to keep a unit together. Now, the Ravens did replace Mike McDonald with Zach Orr. He was the Ravens interior linebacker coach, so they promoted him, elevated him to the role of defensive coordinator. I believe that man's like 31. He used to play for the Ravens, so keeping everything in house, keeping stuff like a known face, a known name, a former player that always can bode well as far as calling plays for a team, as far as team culture and morale goes. And so I like the hiring. Man's 31. It's really crazy. He's only 10 years older than me, and he's a defensive coordinator. Crazy.
Yeah, so the Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken, he is still with the team.
Okay.
Their big loss was their DB coach, Denard Wilson. he was like kind of expected to go into the DC role, but he became the Titans defensive coordinator. But he was a big part of that coaching staff because defensively. And so yeah, they just like you said, it's not easy to keep these pieces. It's not
Yeah,
easy to keep a squad together. You lose coaches, you lose players, things are gonna move around. And so continuity is tough in the NFL. The Chiefs are going to looking to be the first team to back a Super Bowl since the 1900s.
yeah,
Like
right.
this is not
Right.
this is not something back to backs don't happen like this. Dynasties don't happen like this. Very often, and so it's just a lot. Like you see how quick this league moves. This is a very fast league, probably the fastest league of any of the major American sports. it's and that's why we were talking about things with like Bobby Slowik and talking about with Ben Johnson. It's so refreshing to see. It's refreshing to see someone build because we're used to this league moving. Hey, you're a coordinator, now you're a head coach, now you're a DB coach, now you're a coordinator, now you're a head coach. Like we're used to seeing all this speed and turnover and things of that sort. So it's Mike Macdonald. Very excited for him. It's gonna be I'm excited, especially being an NFC West fan, excited to see him, cook up what he could cook up, see those chess games between Sean McVay, Shanahan, and Mike Macdonald, two offensive gurus, two offensive what's seen as prodigies, versus what's seen as one of the better defensive prodigies. People call him the McVay of defensive coordinator, or of defense court. Yeah. So it's gonna be fun to see that. Fun to see what he can do with that Seahawks squad, that young squad that's got a lot of good talent out there. Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, Mafe. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be fun to see. And the
It is.
Ravens, they've got some. We're gonna see how this Ravens team can fare or will fare, losing some big pieces in that coaching staff. Because when you look at this Ravens, what is the common denominator during all of their failures? John Harbaugh. You decided not to move on from him. You decided to give up your young, what looks to like to be coach of the future, Mike Macdonald. You decided to move on from him and keep Harbaugh. Harbaugh's getting old, and he's also had his fair share of mishaps since their Super Bowl, right? Like this is where we start getting into those talks about legacy versus future. And John Harbaugh, again, one seed, just like 2019, one seed, lost, didn't get to didn't perform up to what we expected them to perform. So I don't, if I'm the Ravens, we'll see what. And Belichick didn't get a job. Vrabel didn't get a job. You got Pete Carroll still is in his advisory role. He didn't get a head coaching opportunity. So we're gonna
Yeah.
see. They're gonna be a team to monitor, especially from a coaching standpoint, because I don't think he's necessarily on the hot seat, but his seat ain't cool either.
Nah. And two things. One is you're absolutely right. It's a fast moving league. You don't have the luxury, like, and not everybody's gonna want to stay put, like Bobby Slowik. And even then, they're not gonna want to neither. But right now, they're just invested in the team and what they got going on. But not everybody's gonna want to stay put. Some people are gonna jump at that fact of, man, head coaches make a lot of goddamn money. So you can't just sit up there and act like that's not the fact. And every time that your team is doing so well, like it personally with D'Amico Ryans. Y'all had an amazing defense, whether from defensive play calling, from the roster y'all had constructed last year. When on our Super Bowl run in the years prior with Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, we had an amazing offense. But those stats that we see and these stat lines for individual players that we see, that's all being considered by these other teams that need a head coach. So, okay, yeah, you have the best defense in the league. We can celebrate that, but you also got to think in the back of your head, well, damn, now my defensive coordinator might be he might be getting these interviews soon. I don't know how.
Doing that with 30 straight years, bro. We've
Right.
lost our damn defensive coordinator, man.
So it sucks, and it's one of the things where that's why I mean, like, you gotta capitalize on your opportunities when they're there. when you have these league leading offenses or these top 5 defenses, top 5 offenses, or best passing attack and all this other stuff, whatever that requires the coordinators, well, you got to really sit up there and do your absolute best to win the games that you need to win. Like, it's the truth of the matter, because it's so hard to keep a team together in the NFL. It's the hardest of all sports. I truly think so. So
It's too
it's
many guys. Just so many people. So many different agendas, so many different people, looking out for their family, different wants and needs. Hey, I want to live in the
yeah,
sunny state. Even just something as simple as I don't want to live in the cold. I don't want to be in New York because I don't want to be here long because I don't like the cold. I want to go to a warm city like Miami. So
yep.
just so many things to consider. Like you said, there's just so many things to consider
Look, and we're seeing the same thing too with the Cowboys and the Commanders. Dan Quinn, former Falcons head coach. He was the defensive play caller for the Dallas Cowboys for the last 3 years. He just got picked up to be the new head coach of the Washington Commanders. So we're talking about Dan Quinn, who was calling plays for like a top 5 defense for the last 3 years or so. And now he's gone to a team that has a zero defense, one of the worst defenses during that same time span. So that's going to be interesting to see. But same thing, like now the Cowboys don't have the defensive coordinator that has been the rock of that great defense. Um, Dan Quinn, I have my feelings of how his tenure ended with the Falcons. I've always said this. I think his ass should have been up on out of there after that Super Bowl loss, because we were never the same team. If you really want to be considerate, then he should have been up on out of there after 2017, after Julio Jones slipped in the goddamn end zone and completely bulls out our damn team, and it just shot our team in the head, and we've never recovered since. But congratulations to him for getting a job for the Commanders. Hopefully he can turn around just the culture of that organization, man. That shit's been in the mud since Dan Snyder. Like, it's been really bad. They traded all of their defensive pieces minus Daron Payne. They still got a very good offensive set. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I don't think Sam Howell is going to be the man going forward. I think they're going to try to take someone in the draft. Defensively, you got a lot. You got your work cut out for you, Dan Quinn. I ain't gonna lie. I think they're right near the bottom in damn near every defensive category this year.
if not the bottom. They're
Yeah,
pretty rough out there in Washington.
it
But
is.
they've
But
got
that just
some.
goes to prove our point.
Yeah, they've got the most cap in the league. They've got the most cap space. They've got some pretty good draft capital. So they have chances. They have opportunities to build something, to really build something. But this is their fresh start. This is their reset. And yeah, like I said, good luck to him, because he's gonna
Yeah,
need it.
it is. So yeah, that's the NFL head coaching carousel. I think that's the end of it, right? Yeah, everybody's got a coaching position now, like
Yeah,
every team.
everything's
But
filled
Bill
out.
Belichick is
No more
still a free
vacancies.
agent. Nope, but Bill Belichick is still a free agent. So what does that mean for his, like? I mean, Marlon Humphrey, I think, said something on Twitter. He's like, the quote unquote greatest coach of all time still doesn't have a job. What does that mean? Or that should say everything you need to know about the conversation. I don't really have too big of an opinion on it, but that is an interesting question to raise. I mean, if you are the greatest quarterback or coach of all time, why don't you have a job? I mean, shit. Like, if I'm pretty good
Yeah,
at my job, I will have a job. Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I would go anywhere and get a job.
Well, the biggest thing with him is the control thing, right?
Right,
When he
exactly.
comes
Yeah,
in, he's gonna want to run things, and I think it's hard to invest in that, with his age and things of that sort. Like, you don't. If I'm the Commanders, I probably don't want Bill Belichick because I'm a project, right? Like, this is not. I don't expect to have Bill Belichick for 10 more years, 10 more years. I think it's best for him to go to a team that's ready to compete, ready to win. And so there aren't many. You're not going to find many vacancies in teams that are ready to win, because most of the time they already have their coach of the future.
right.
So We're gonna have to see. We said it a couple episodes ago. He might not even get he might not even get a job, and that's clearly come to fruition. Mike Vrabel, another really
Another
good
one
head
too, yeah.
coach, that is probably not gonna get a job. So we'll have to see, or isn't gonna get a job. So we'll have to see. As this season goes on, who stays? Coaches can get fired at the end of the season, things of that sort. There's gonna be new vacancies next year, so we'll just have to see with them. It is a little interesting. It's very interesting to see, though. Very interesting to
It
see.
is. It is. Um, so with that, yeah, I want to talk about let's have a little bit of fun with these next couple of discussions. Huh. I was looking back on the Chiefs getting to the Super Bowl. They're going to be playing the San Francisco 49ers, not this week, but next week. I think what, the 11th? Yeah, the 11th. Um, and I was looking at kind of both teams' playoff road to the Super Bowl, of course. 49ers had a bye week. They had to come back, they had to come back and win against the Packers. They had to come back and win against the Lions. So it shows their heart and their scrappiness and their how synchronized they are as a unit, how they never give up and whatnot. But then I was looking at the Chiefs. They didn't have a bye week. They had to play the Dolphins week 1 or the week in the wild card. Then they had to go play the Bills on the road. Then they had to go play the Ravens on the road. And I was looking at each of these games and I'm like, man, these are some, like, the Chiefs deserve to be in this Super Bowl. As much as I don't like them, as much as I don't want to see Thanos Mahomes get another ring, as much as I don't want to see Taylor Swift propped up, she's probably going to get a complimentary championship ring. She's an honorary Chiefs player during the Super Bowl and whatnot. I was sitting there thinking, like, man, the Chiefs really did deserve to be here. They got some gutty wins against the Bills, a gutty win against the Ravens, and none of these games were particularly the most explosive and the prettiest we've seen out of the Chiefs over the last few years. But, like, considering the circumstance, considering the teams they had to play against, considering some of the circumstance that they had, like, the Chiefs really performed well in the playoffs. So I was thinking, what were some other all-time playoff runs? I like to go back and reflect. What are some of the other all-time playoff runs in any sport? And we
We'll,
can have a little bit of fun of this one. I want to hear some of what we got.
well, sticking with football, one of the best runs in my eyes is a team that's very, very notorious and led by a one Eli Manning. The '07 Giants had one of the toughest runs, I would think. One of the toughest runs in NFL history. They
Easy.
started off against the Buccaneers, that was 9-7, but they had the number 3 defense in the league. So that was a tough defense that they had to overcome. They scored 24 on them. Then in the divisional, they had to go against the 13-3 Cowboys that had the number 2 offense in the league. They beat them 17-21, held that offense to only 17 points. Then in the NFC Championship, they had to go against the 13-3 Packers that were 4th in the league in offense and 6th in the league in defense. They weren't supposed to win. These are not games. And then to top it off, they go against what might have been the greatest, what was one win away from being the greatest NFL team in history.
Yeah.
The Patriots, the 16-0 Patriots. Obviously, we know how that ended with the helmet catch and then the touchdown to Plaxico Burress. Then they had to go beat Randy Moss and Brady and Belichick in the Super Bowl. So when I look at that run, and this Giants team, it's not like this was the best Giants team. We literally teams that they've had after that have been better than this team, but they found a way to get these ugly wins, and they won every single game by, first one was by 10 points, then it was by 4 points, then it was by 3 points, then by 3 points again. So we're talking about
Yeah.
like a 5 point differential average.
Right.
And
That
so,
was the year they won in Lambeau Field, right? I remember that was the game Brandon
yeah,
Jacobs went off.
yeah, that was the year they won that in Lambeau. So
Mhm.
it was just, all of those games. I believe all of those games were on the road. Every single game was on the
Yeah.
road. And so they go into the Bucks house, they go into their crib, beat them. They go to the Cowboys crib, beat them. Go to the Packers crib, beat them, and then play
Yeah.
the 16-0 Patriots. So when I look at NFL history, that's one of the greatest runs of all time.
Look, mind you, I think that Packers game too was one of the coldest games in NFL history. So literally bro, when I say that was like stroke of like luck, how everything played out for the Giants, like it's I don't believe in luck for myself, but I believe in luck in sports. I ain't gonna lie, that Giants team, especially when you look back on Eli Manning's career, like we don't really consider him to be even like a top 15, top 20 quarterback of all time, do we? So the fact that he is able to get that win off against Tom Brady and that what looked to be unstoppable Patriots team, 100%. Like, dude, like I said, I think
Man,
honestly, in my
Patriots
opinion,
team.
that them beating the Packers at Lambeau Field was more impressive than a Super Bowl win itself in my eyes. Like,
Man, that Patriots team was, and it's really ridiculous to look at that team. They led the league in points per game. They had 36.8 points per game. And that Giants defense held them
07.
to 14.
That's crazy.
Like when you say everything went right and they turned up at the when it was necessary, they averaged 37 points a game and they didn't even get half of that in the Super Bowl. That was a crazy run.
Man, man, you started off strong. I'm gonna have to come back hard too. Then pause. It is. I'm gonna go to basketball with this one. I'm gonna go to basketball. 2011 Mavericks.
Mavs. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew
Easy, man.
it.
Number one, I'm picking them because back then, middle school, elementary school, me, yeah, massive, massive, massive Bron hater. I wanted to see Bron lose when he went. Firstly, I didn't like that man because of what he did to my Hawks when he was first in Cleveland. So I never liked LeBron. And then when he went to the Heat, it gave me even more reason to hate him. So when we were watching the finals and the Heat are just raising their way to the playoffs, and everybody, please understand that the 2010, 2011 Heat took them a while to get going. It took them a long time for them to really find a straight in. It took them a whole season, but they were still so dominant, having the best player in the world with another top 5, top 10 player in the world with Dwayne Wade, and then have another top 10 player in the world with Chris Bosh. That it was truly monumental. I know we're so used to seeing all of these players join them. Like now we have Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden on the same team. We've seen James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant on the same team. We have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the same team. So we're so used to seeing these big threes and this stuff. But please understand, when Dwayne Wade, Bron, and Bosh linked up in South Beach, that was truly a world-breaking experience for all ages of basketball fans, both hardcore and casual. And then here comes the Mavericks, right? This was probably one of the most competitive years in the Western Conference. This is probably one of the most competitive eras in the Western Conference. Mavericks finished the year 57-25. Rick Carlisle was their coach. Listen to this roster. I want you to listen to this roster. Got Dirk Nowitzki holding down the paint for show. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Top 10 in all-time points. Just absolute beast of a human. On one of the unstoppable moves of all time with that post fadeaway. Jason Kidd in his later years, I believe the man was in his 16th year in the league. Sean Marion, same with him. He was in his 11th year, kind of lost a little bit of athleticism. JJ Barea, Caron Butler, Tyson Chandler. I think he finished. I don't know. He definitely finished top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year. Dwight Howard ended up getting it. Brendan Haywood, even some of the slept-on members of that team, like JJ Barea and Deshaun Stevenson and Peja Stojakovic. So that's that roster. But here are the teams that they had to get through in order to get to the finals. They had to beat the Trailblazers in the first round. They won in 6 games against LaMarcus Aldridge. Against you had LaMarcus Aldridge on that team. You had Brandon Roy on that team. Gerald Wallace. Like that team ended up winning 48-34. But if you watch each of those games were competitive. Trailblazers played the Mavericks very hard. They won in 6. And then in the second round, guess who they had waiting for him? Kobe Bryant and the goddamn Lakers. And this was when they were damn near unstoppable. The Lakers finished 57-25, same record as the Mavericks, but this is when Kobe Bryant was still at his. He just came off of winning
Yeah,
the
coming
NBA
off the
Finals.
finals right
Just
against
came
the
off of
Celtics.
winning a Finals MVP. He is still at the peak of his game, um, and we're talking about a team that was still being coached by Phil Jackson, so their championship window was still wide open. Paul Gasol was still on that team. Lamar Odom, Ron Artest, excuse me, Luke Walton. Luke Walton was a dog off that bench for the Ravens, or not for the Lakers. God damn it, Andrew Bynum, Derek Fisher, of course, and the Mavericks swept them 4 wins in a row and got that team up on out of there. 57-win team manned by Kobe Bryant. And then in the conference, the Western Conference Finals, they had to play the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very young team still, very young team, but they won 55 games. Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, James Harden. This was a Kendrick Perkins, Thabo Cephalosha. This was when we're looking at. This was 1 year before the Thunder made it to the finals, and the Mavericks beat them in 5. So they had to run the gauntlet just to get to the NBA Finals. Then when they get to the NBA Finals, now you got to go play Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Chris Bosh, the newly formed Heatles, and the cards were stacked against them. The Heat were the clear favorites. Everybody thought the Heat were going to win. They finished 58-24 on the year, best record in the NBA. And it was one of the more interesting collapses by a team in sports history, especially NBA history. LeBron James being outscored by Jason Terry in the fourth quarter of Game 4. Are you kidding me? You're talking about the in totality, Dirk Nowitzki averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds in 21 games of the playoffs. Ended up winning Finals MVP, got his first NBA championship, got his revenge against Pat Riley in the Miami Heat for the 2006 Finals, where the Heat beat the Mavericks in 6. So definitely one of the top playoff runs of all time. Easily my favorite NBA playoff run of all time, right up there with the 2021 Hawks. I'm always gonna be biased. I don't care that we lost against the Bucks in the conference finals. I do not care. And right up there with the 2016 Falcons as well. I'm biased. I don't care. But the Mavericks will probably be third up there for me. So definitely one of the more all-time playoff runs. Like, man, Dirk Nowitzki just looked like a man who could not be stopped. And same thing we were talking about earlier with the 65 game rule. Look, Dirk Nowitzki was banged up too. That man played as many games as he could. He played through any type of pain, everything, because he knew he was this close to his goals. This close. He finally didn't have to play against the Spurs. He didn't have to play against the Spurs and Tim Duncan. He's right there. He beat Kobe Bryant. He beat the Lakers. He beat Kevin Durant and the Thunder. He's right there. And he finally got through Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and the Heat. Easily one of the best playoff runs of all time. Easy.
Yeah, I concur. Honestly, there's a lot of almost seemingly parallels between that team and the '07 Giants. Especially when it comes to the runs you're going against. Like I said, it was the big bad, right? The Patriots. This Patriots team the dynasty had already started. They're 16-0, and they knock them off. Like you said, the Mavericks, they're going against the Heatles. This is the team that's looked at as, like I said, the big bad of the league. We expect this to be a dynasty soon. And Dirk was able to have if not the best, I wouldn't say the best playoff of all time, but definitely one of the best individual playoff performance, for the entirety of playoffs, best individual performance of all time. And yeah, that was just, and it's always the underdog, right? It's always the underdogs that have the best stories, that have the best, just overcoming superstars, overcoming teams, everything coming together perfectly. And it's always fun to watch too. Everybody roots for the underdog. And it's interesting to see like you said, things coming together so flawlessly, so perfectly that it creates something that's, that we still talk about right now, talk about years later as one of the best runs of all time. So it's always fun to watch those.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie though. I have another one for you. Another one for you,
Yeah.
more recent one. Very fun one. We both experienced 2021 Braves World Series run. Hey,
Yeah.
that was
That was,
legitimately
I was
crazy.
I was gonna honestly use that as my baseball example, and it's different because we experienced that firsthand. Um, I can tell you almost every detail about
Bro.
almost every game in that run. Like it was
Dog, the
just that
fact that we were below 500 for like the entirety of the year until what month was it? Like August or so?
pretty much
Like
August.
we're about to be in the playoff action. And I from what I remember, the division was still very winnable. And we brought in so many randoms, not
Soler,
randoms, but
Jock,
yeah, Solaire,
Soler, Jock, and Eddie. Those were like
Eddie
three.
Rosario, the
Like when
dream. One day I have to tell the story about Eddie Rosario. That has to be a hear me roar story time one day.
and when when Acuna goes down in July, I said season was over. Like he tore his ACL against the Marlins trying to catch a outfield fly. Um, Tore his ACL. It looked like, oh, the season's fried. It's cooked. There's nothing else to watch for this season. But when we talk about everything coming together
That was
perfectly,
just perfect. Everybody played their role to the best that they could.
yeah, and
Actually exceeded it, honestly.
exactly, I exceeded it. The 3-1, they won 3-1 over the Brewers. Then they go, they play the Dodgers, the 100 win team, 104 win, 104, 105, no, 106 win team. And then they play the Astros in the finals World Series. We still remember, Game 7. We were me, Tony, and a couple of our friends were at the outside the stadium watching the game on the big screen that they got out there, watching Tyler Matzik in the 7th inning come in for Luke Jackson, man on second, and he strikes out Albert Pujols, strikes out Mookie to end that inning. One of the most clutch moments I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, bro,
And then
nah,
in the
that
World
man
Series,
came in so clutch, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, we were just counting down them outs, bro. Counting down them damn strikes.
I ain't gonna
Oh
lie,
my
that was one
goodness.
of the clutchest moments I've ever seen in my life.
I haven't been that nervous for a game in a minute, too.
I still go rewatch that inning because I remember it so perfectly. Luke Jackson comes in, gives up man on second, man on first. Tyler Matzik comes in, he's got 3 outs. Got to get 3 outs, and he just guns them down, K after K after K. And then in the World Series, Soler hitting that absolute moonshot. They said like 480. I think it was very easily 500 something feet.
Dog, that
Um,
was a moonshot.
like,
That thing, goddamn, we didn't even see that thing go over
hey,
the
man,
fence.
it
We
went
just knew
over
that
the
shit went over the wall,
train.
bro.
Man, it went over the train in Minute Maid. That was it was a fun thing to live. Yeah, that was definitely up there because it wasn't led by a superstar. It wasn't led
No,
by, Acuna went down. And it's interesting to see that they had more success with role players playing their role than they did. I mean, of course, they still had Freddie, they still had Austin Riley. He hit a walk-off against the Dodgers.
yeah,
But
but like, damn,
they still had talent, but they were missing the top dog. They were
like you
missing
said,
Acuna.
and the people that we brought in, like Jock Peterson and Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario, like these folks weren't superstars. These weren't just over here amassing, bro. These were last minute put together, like, bro, can we
Trade deadline.
right? Like, that's everybody literally. We did enough to win our division. We did enough to get into the playoffs, and with each passing game, we just got better and better. And when October came, that's when it's like we just became legendary. Like Jorge Soler, Eddie Rosario, Charlie Morton, and what's man's name?
Max Fried,
Max
locking
Fried,
down, and
Will
then
Smith, Tyler Matzik. Like,
Will
go,
Smith, Will Smith is bro. This man posted. All right, man. The amount of times that I saw Will Smith blow a damn save during that season, just for him to post a 0 ERA, no runs allowed in the damn the finals, man, or the World Series. That like it was just a matter of every player coming together and playing their best ball because Will Smith, he was the amount, bro. I can't tell you the amount of times I personally watched him blow a save at a game that I went to, and he came out in the damn the finals. Came out, he had a 3.4 ERA that season, and in the playoffs, he did not allow a single run. That is crazy.
It is very crazy. So, like, I don't know what was in damn Truist Park's water. Not sure what they were feeding him in the back, but man, that was dog. That was an incredible run. Like that was memorable for the fact that we were in person to watch. Like deadass, we were at every postseason game watching on the green. Like seriously, we missed the Brewers one, or at least I did personally.
No,
We
we
missed the
didn't go to
Brewers
that. We
series,
didn't go to that Brewers series
but
at all.
from game one of the Dodgers, we were there till the final World Series game. All 7 Dodgers games, I swear. It's really crazy. I probably missed like maybe 1 or 2 out of what? How many games was that played? 13,
Yeah,
14
12,
games.
6, yeah,
12,
6.
yeah. So
Or no, sorry, 13. Yeah, 7 and
yeah.
6.
So it's that was an insane run. The fact that I was able to be part of that. You know, Falcons always let me down. Hawks always let me down. The fact that the Braves got it done and it was in the most improbable way, man, definitely made me proud to be a Braves fan. Definitely made me proud to be an Atlanta native. Like I truly got to, I've seen the UGA parades and such, but then I was there when we beat the Packers and went to the Super Bowl in 2016. But man, nothing is actually like winning the chip itself. So out of all my postseason runs that I can remember off top, Braves, Falcons, Hawks, Mavericks. That's the fifth. You can throw whoever else in there. I don't care. Those are mine, man. I'm sorry, Atlanta for sure. Anytime that Atlanta has a great postseason, I'm putting them up there. I do not care.
Yeah, I would definitely Braves, Mavericks, Braves, Mavericks, Giants are definitely 3 of those for me. Um 49er, like as a 49ers fan, it feels like a lot of our runs we never quite the underdog in our runs. Like it seems like we're always the best team or the team to beat in our playoff runs. The 2019 one was memorable for me. I just remember the Vikings game where Jimmy G only threw like 10 passes, and then you get to the NFC Championship and Raheem Mostert runs for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. And obviously, what happens in the Super Bowl happens. But you know, as far like for the Atlanta is different because it's not as much like it seems whenever you guys get to the spots you get to, it's a little bit more unexpected. It's a little bit more of everything coming together. Whereas like from what I've seen from the 49ers, a couple of years, we've had years of being terrible. And then B, it just seems like we're always the favorite, even this year. In 2019, we were the favorite. 2013, we were the favorite. It's like so it just I wouldn't say any of those runs are memorable from the team that I've been a part of. The teams that all the Bay Area teams. The Giants had some pretty special runs back then, their dynasty, but that's
Yeah.
I didn't exactly watch those, so I don't know it as well.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to keep on seeing some more. Like, hopefully, we get a very good Super Bowl game. Very good Super Bowl game on both
I
sides.
hope not. I
What better?
hope the 49ers blow out the Chiefs. I don't need it to be a good game. I want my heart rate to stay low. I hope we
You know
come
that's
out.
not going to happen. Y'all couldn't even blow out the Packers.
We didn't need to blow them out. It doesn't matter. I
Y'all
need
couldn't
my
blow out the
heart
Packers.
rate. I want my heart rate to maintain a constant. I need us to come out strong and
Nope.
never look back. Like against the Packers, against that in that 2019 NFC Championship game, it's just such a good feeling going up and not, just never being uncomfortable. I don't like
Oh,
my
yeah.
heart rate jumping.
I know. Yeah, yeah. never going up and never feeling like you're gonna lose the game. Right? Yeah, I know that very well. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. 28
Yeah,
to
no,
3 never, I'm saying that never happened. I
yeah,
never had to worry
that's
about that.
still one of the
Scarred.
crazier. I don't
Scarred.
really know. I as of it's different because I fell asleep or I went to sleep. I didn't fall asleep. I went to sleep. I was very confident that they. I thought the game was over. That's it's always interesting to see that or to go back on the or when I think about that night. I know you might not want to talk about it, but it's interesting for me because I went to sleep. And the thing is, I woke up at the middle of the night. I woke up at like 4 a.m. just to check, oh, how bad did they end up winning? Doug, I cannot explain the feeling I felt when I saw that the Patriots completed that comeback, man. I was in utter disbelief because I wasn't even once they went up like at halftime, I stopped watching. And then by the time third quarter, I went to sleep. And man, that was interesting. It was like I was woken up just to view that, and then I was like, I don't even know if I went back to sleep. I can't remember.
James White. That's all I have to say. Um, this is gonna move on before I start crying on camera. We're gonna wrap up this episode soon. We're gonna keep it having fun though. You saw that Kevin Durant tribute video when he played when the Suns went to Brooklyn for the first time since Kevin Durant trade.
I did.
Um,
Interesting.
I don't get this whole infatuation with tribute videos. Number one, Kevin Durant didn't want the tribute video. He didn't want it in the first place.
Explicitly stated,
Right.
he did not want a
He
tribute.
didn't want to. He didn't want it. He said it. And when they gave it to him, he just looked very like uncomfortable and awkward. Number two, he didn't even get a tribute video from the Thunder when he went to the Warriors. He still hasn't gotten one. So why the hell would the Nets do one? Why? Like and then thirdly, they gave this man a tribute video just for them to boo him all night. The Nets fans were booing Kevin Durant all night. They got their ass blown out and they booed Kevin Durant after he dropped 30 something on their heads. He only missed like 5 field goals. So it and not only that, Kevin Durant's probably the last one you should be booing out of that failed big three, anyways. Go boo Harden's fat ass for damn putting on that fat suit and forcing his way out of Brooklyn. Go boo Kyrie. Like booing the one person that almost got you to the finals. His foot was on the line. But nonetheless, he didn't win nothing for y'all. Why are you giving him a tribute video?
Yeah,
Why would y'all give him a tribute video?
not even like he was there a long time, right? Like Melo got a tribute video from the Knicks when he went back. They didn't win anything, but he kind of he was a core piece of that early 2010s, late 2000s, early 2010s team that
Melo, I can see.
just kind
I
of
can see that from Melo.
yeah. But yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to win to get a tribute video, but it's the fact that they didn't do anything like that. Like it's not like he was there, he was drafted there, he stayed there for 10 years, stayed there for 8-10 years. He was there for 2.5, or or you can't even really count the year that he was hurt, or he missed an entire year. So he was really only there for like 2 years. And
I don't know. I'm just very strict with it because a tribute video, firstly, it means a lot to me as far as like what a tribute video means. And when I'm gonna tell you these players who got a tribute video, just listen to these names. I want to hear your reaction. In 2021, the Nuggets gave Gary Harris a tribute video after he was traded to the Magic. It lasted a minute and 3 seconds.
what do you put in a Gary Harris tribute video? I gotta watch this video.
And then I'm gonna send it. And then the Magic traded RJ Hampton away to the Nuggets, and the Magic gave RJ Hampton a tribute video. It lasted seconds. Dwight Howard got a tribute video from the Hawks in 2018. He spent 1 year with the team. Westbrook
He was
got
only
a
here for
tribute
1
video.
year?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
interesting. It feels like he was here so much longer.
He bounced from I think he went from the Hornets to the Hawks to the Wizards. I think that's how it went. Russell Westbrook got a tribute video from the Rockets after 1 year. PJ Tucker got one from the Rockets. They didn't win anything. Why are you giving PJ Tucker a tribute video? Thomas Sadaransky
Can you hear that?
got a tribute. Yes, a little bit.
All right, well, keep going.
Yep. Thomas Sadaransky got a tribute video from the Wizards. What is going on? Thomas Sadaransky? Are you kidding me?
I
What
don't.
the hell is that a tribute to Thomas Sadaransky? Like, I just don't get it. So, like, okay, I get it. If a player has impact on the team, on the community, and whatnot, okay, I get that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Melo for the Knicks, I can understand. I can understand Melo for the Knicks, but we need to put a higher priority on what's required to get a tribute video. Bro, just because you spent 5 years of an average career in one city and for one team, that doesn't give you no tribute video. You're not Kobe Bryant.
Like that. Yeah, for me, that's like I don't like when like player banner gets hung. Like think there's certain things that I think you need to earn. Like some people it's a little some people are a little on the fence about Udonis Haslem getting his jersey retired. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. A little on the fence myself, but I think at the end of the day, it's up to that organization. But yeah, what has Thomas Sadaransky done to get a tribute video? Like I think it just kind of NBA players. I don't think he asked for it. He probably was just as surprised as you would be that he got a tribute video.
Yeah,
But
Dwight Howard didn't even notice the tribute video we gave him. He didn't even notice it. He was talking to the coaches, I think.
Yeah, like I don't know what's the reason. Like that's my biggest thing is what is the reason. It's supposed to be because it just takes away the value of making it for players that it actually belongs to, right? Like if I'm a player that built my legacy with a team, I won this, I stuck with this team for 12 years. We won a ring together. I won all NBA. I've seen a lot of changes in the team. I'm a big part of the community, and I get a tribute video, and then the next day you got somebody who's there for 2 years that averaged 10 points that demanded a trade. He gets a tribute video. It's gonna make me feel some type of way. I mean, like, what was my tribute video even for if he gets that? So I just don't understand it.
I just don't. Like, some players definitely deserve one. Derrick Rose deserves a tribute video every goddamn time he goes back to Chicago. He deserves it. 100%. LeBron deserves one every time he goes to Cleveland, to Miami. Look, like these are 100%. But Victor Oladipo, nothing against him, but he doesn't deserve a tribute video when he goes back to Indiana. It's just what it. DeMar DeRozan doesn't deserve one when he goes back to San Antonio. For the Raptors, 100%.
I understand.
When he goes to San Antonio, LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't deserve when he goes back to San Antonio, or he doesn't play anymore. But like, okay, yeah, for the Trailblazers, maybe. But I'm so strict on it that Blake Griffin shouldn't even get one for going to when he goes back to Los Angeles for the Clippers. Neither does Chris Paul. Maybe they can do a Lob City one, but
I'll give
they haven't won anything.
Yeah, I know they didn't win, but that was kind of they established something. That was a memorable team. Like you said, maybe for the team, I would give BG and Chris Paul one.
They're memorable for losing. I know that. That's what they're memorable for to me. They're memorable for losing. They're memorable for losing, for choking 3-1 to the Rockets. That's what they're memorable for. Like I wish Doc Rivers would get a tribute video going back to LA. You think that shit would slide?
Crazy. No,
you think that shit would slide? All right, then. Exactly.
That's different though. That's different because you don't think of when I think of the Clippers, I literally in my head I think Blake. Before I think Kawhi and Paul George, I literally think Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. Like I think they brought I'm willing to give it to players that bring a team to relevance. Like the Clippers. Who were the Clippers before Blake Griffin and Chris Paul? I can't name a single, and this is bad.
Sale and Chris.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to give. I'm giving you some who that is.
Those easy for
but
you. Those too easy.
I couldn't even really give you players from the Clippers before Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. So I'll give it for players that bring a team to relevance, even if they don't win. But yeah, there's just certain players like that's like if you gave like for that from that Clippers team, if you who really like doesn't deserve one. That's like if you gave oh Jesus, why can I not think of the name? That's like if they gave Zebo Kings a
Right.
Zebo Kings tribute video. Like I would get it on the Grizzlies, but not on the Kings. Like he wasn't
Hey man.
crucial to establishing nothing there.
Hey, Aaron Afwalo Nuggets tribute video coming soon. Serge Ibaka Magic
Quincy
video
AC
coming
Knicks
soon.
tribute.
Now hold up now. Quincy AC mixtape be going hard though. You gotta be real. Quincy AC's mixtape be going hard. Oh my god, why don't go blurry on me? The fuck? Am I blurry?
Yeah, a little bit.
My goodness, bro.
We'll see. But Quincy AC, shout out. Yeah, shout out. He's like, if there was a person, any player in any sport or in the NBA particular, that you could make a Rick Ross should just be their theme music, it's Quincy AC in the NBA.
Quincy AC is a real Negro. That's what he is, bro. Like
Just a crash
man,
out, bro. Just a crash dummy in the NBA.
he just don't be. He doesn't think 2 steps ahead. He just sees red and he goes. Which I mean, I'm fine. Man got fouled, got up, screamed, and just completely rammed his forearm. Let out a war cry and shoved the hell out of I don't even know who it was, like Aaron
I
Baines,
forgot who it was.
Daniel Tyus.
Yeah, it was Daniel.
Man fought John Wall, got punched in the mouth, got a bloody mouth. Bro, Quincy AC is a fool, bro. But hey, you mentioned who that is earlier. It's about that time. It's time to play who that is. Finna go ahead and strike out Noble again. I'm ready. It's football, and you know he was crying earlier, talking about some goddamn. I don't give him anybody fair, or
That's
I
not
need
what
to
I
give him
said.
more
My
recent.
words are
I
being
need to give him more
twisted.
recent players. Oh man, I might have to reconsider this player. Damn.
What? Why would you ever use it?
I didn't know all this. Is there any? Let's say this player has played less than 5 games. Does this count?
Less than 5 games is crazy. I don't. Listen, what we talked about earlier. Earlier in our group chat, we were discussing Jared Baines, or it was Jared Haynes, a rugby all-star who came to the NFL. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to give you that one, but how many
Okay,
teams was he
I'm gonna
on?
change it up. He was on 1. I mean, he dressed out in others, but we're gonna have to change it up. We're gonna change it up. But yeah, this man only played 1 game ever.
We'll change. We can change it up, but I want to know who it was.
Kurt Benkert.
Oh my God. It's the Was he a quarterback?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I Was he Vikings?
Mm-mm.
Okay, no, I don't know. I just know because the thing is I know him more for his because he's like a analyst now. So I know
Yeah.
him more for what he does now than he did on the field.
I'm currently looking. Um, I'm looking right now for a team. Huh. Or looking for a player. Let's see. Let's see.
It was the Packers. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, Packers. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Ito Smith.
That name is familiar. I know. Let me see. What position is he?
He's a running back.
Ito Smith. Oh, that sounds so familiar.
He's played
That's
for
recent too.
Yeah, he's played 4 years. Played 4 years. He's played for 2 teams.
What are the years?
2018 through 2021.
It was recent. Damn.
Yeah, very recent.
Ito
He played for 2
Smith.
teams. You get 2 guesses.
All right. First guess.
Camera.
Ito Smith. I'm kind of feeling. No, that was Amir Abdullah. That's a crazy pull. Edos. Damn.
Where the hell
Oh,
did Amir Abdullah come from? What the hell?
I'm thinking because I'm thinking. Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to give up the team as a guess, but well, actually, let me see. Let me just kind of run through the teams in my head because I can name all teams, and I know there's teams that I know for a fact. Like I know that he wasn't on, but I'm kind of stuck. I'm feeling the NFC North right now. I'm gonna say the Lions.
Wrong. Got one more guess. I mean, you're right. You're in the right conference, but you guys got to get the division. You got to get the team right.
All right. So let me see. NFC team. Oh, this I know. Not the. Well, I know it wasn't 49ers. No, it wasn't the Seahawks. No, it wasn't the Cardinals. No, it wasn't the what's that last team? Rams. Um, was it the Falcons? No, not the Falcons. Saints. No, I know it wasn't the Saints. It was in the South.
Let's
Bucks.
see.
Ooh.
His best year was total yards running is well. He had 4 touchdowns in 2018 in 14 games. He had 315 rushing yards, 18 first downs gained.
I don't know what I just saw his name recently for something. I have no idea what it is, but I'm gonna go ahead with this guess. Was he on?
Final pick.
Was he on the? Let me think of these last NFC teams. That was West. Who's in the
Hey
East?
man, you got 10 seconds.
All right. Cowboys. No. Eagles. No. I'm gonna go Vikings.
Vikings, another NFC North team. Unfortunately, you are wrong.
I'm gonna throw this. We can add it to the record, but let me throw this third guess out there. Was he on the Falcons?
Yes, he was on the Falcons.
Damn it, I knew it. Oh my god, I was bouncing
He's on the
between the
Falcons.
Vikings and the Falcons, bro.
He was on the Falcons for his first 3 years of his career, and he was on the Cowboys for his final season. He only played
I
one game
knew
for the
it.
Cowboys.
I gotta trust my gut.
Yep. No highlight today. I don't have a highlight for you, but yeah,
No highlight
that's
is
no
crazy.
highlight today. We got a highlight. We'll have a highlight today, but yeah, Edo Smith, you're 1-4 now, so you are behind the curve. You are way below 500. You got to get your shit together, bro. Straight up.
Listen.
Hey,
I'm gonna turn it around. I'm gonna look like the
nope.
49ers against
I'm
the
a, I'm a,
Lions.
I'm gonna put you in the description too that you're 1-4. I'm gonna have people looking forward to you losing.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the you see, you can have everything else, but I'm the commissioner of who that is, and I rule with an iron fist. So I don't make it easy. You said you wanted a football player from 2017 and forward.
You
I
did.
gave
I
it to
did.
you.
I did. And
I
I
gave it to
almost
you.
I knew what damn team he was on.
Hey, you better not get used to it. We're gonna go back to basketball soon. And you know I ain't
Uh,
gonna make it easy. Hey, thank y'all for watching this episode. I'm gonna be working on a Thanasis Antetokounmpo tribute video. Um, we know we're gonna put that out on all platforms soon. This has been Hear Me Roar. Excuse me, episode 38 with the new setup. Noble's gonna be getting his together soon. We got a lot of stuff coming for y'all guys. Super Bowl's coming up. We'll be back here next week on Tuesday. We'll start breaking down and getting into the nitty gritty of the Super Bowl matchup as well as NBA All Star Weekend coming up. More NBA games, of course. So we're picking this up. Hear me roar. This has been episode 38 with Tony Hope and Noble Lewis, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode.